Yeah, guys, it came to this, okay? All these brands wouldn't stop discontinuing my favorite products, so I had to create my own brand. Like, this was born out of pure necessity so that I could be the one in control. I'm the captain now. I wish that was purely a joke, but like, it's kind of not. Wow, what a long time coming. I'm so excited to finally share everything with you guys. So here is the first look at my new brand, AURIC. Let's get into the dirty details, okay? So let's start off with the name AURIC. AURIC means of, relating to, or derived from gold. So gold is something that really heavily influenced the packaging, which you guys will see in a second, and our brand story as well. I was researching about gold on the internet, okay? And something that I found really interesting is that in all of these different cultures and societies, gold was valued everywhere. And I think that's interesting because gold is something that is at least partially perceived value. Like, it's not just down to scarcity. And so as we were kind of developing, you know, this brand and what's meaningful to us, the most valuable and important and golden thing is people. And from the beginning of this brand, something that we've continually brought into almost every single conversation is our feelings around inclusivity. We wanted to really break down, like, what does inclusivity mean to us? What does that look like to us? And where we landed with that conversation is that we believe inclusivity goes beyond just what you look like. It's about everything that we all are as people, you know, our life experiences and our beliefs and our creativity and our ideas and how we express ourselves. So for us, inclusivity is about welcoming all of that with open arms. Nothing is as valuable if you don't have somebody to share it with. Nothing is as interesting or inspiring if it's only from one person's perspective. So for us, our definition of AURIC is golden together, and that's what golden together is all about. We create value when we value people first. So moving on from the name, this brand is really our take on modern luxury. And what I mean by that is what we want the future of luxury products to look like. Luxury, especially within the cosmetic industry, is oftentimes synonymous with compromise. Unfortunately, lack of inclusivity and animal testing and outrageously high price points that don't necessarily reflect really high quality products is something that is rampant with a lot of these luxury brands. And when I decided to, start the transition to brands that were only cruelty free, immediately the thing that popped into my mind is I'm letting go of almost every single luxury brand that I love. So I want this brand to be reflective of all the things I loved about luxury products and leave behind the things that I didn't love about those brands and their choices. So lastly, AURIC was created with artistry heavily in mind. I remember one of the first moments that I really fell in love with makeup. I had gone to a makeup trade show with my mom, and I saw this artist showing how she would use different shades of foundation to create, you know, a more dimensional look to the face, like basically to highlight and contour. And it was the first time where I was really introduced to this idea of flexibility within makeup. A lot of makeup artists, when they first start, they pack their kits full of like endless amounts of product, and it takes them like an hour to set up and tear down because you just feel like you need everything. But a lot of seasoned makeup artists actually have really, really small kits because they know the product inside and out, and they know how to, utilize everything to make it something more. So that idea of flexibility and being able to use products in more than one way was something that really influenced the first products that we wanted to launch with, and I'm gonna finally show them to you now. So the first product I wanna introduce you to is Glow Lust, which is our Radiant Luminizer. You guys, I mean, come on. I think we could have all seen this coming. I love a cream product, okay? And a lot of you that follow me will also know that I can't complete my makeup without mixing something. So we wanted this formula to be really flexible and have it be something that you can mix with your skincare or your foundation. You can wear under foundation, over foundation, basically however you want to use it to add glow and radiance. Let me also show you the outer packaging because it's so nice. Oh my God, like just the gold veining and the matte packet, you know what I mean? Wow, what a time. So Glow Lust is in this beautiful frosted gigantic bottle, okay? Because we wanted this product to be really versatile and something that you could use in a multitude of different ways, we wanted to make sure that we were going to be giving you guys enough product to do that with, where you weren't going to be like, oh, but like, I don't want to waste a pump on that, you know? The fill weight of these bottles is 35 milliliters. You will have this forever. Let's talk about this packaging for a second. Simple, yet sublime. We wanted to opt for glass wherever we could over plastic to make our packaging a little bit more recyclable. Then we have our custom black and gold cap with a little AURIC logo, and then our little gold drips down the side of the cap. Nice. This cap, okay, hear me out. When you get it, you're gonna be like, wow, that cap is difficult to take off. Because we know this product is going to last forever, I didn't wanna have a cap all loosey-goosey, jumping ship every time you put it in your travel bag. We used to travel once upon a time, didn't we? Yeah. So the first time you take the cap off, you will notice that you really need to give it like a good tug, but it will loosen over time, but never to the point where your cap's gonna be falling off in your bag. You're gonna be losing it, getting luminizer all over the place. What a nightmare. That's not gonna happen, okay? I wanna just like take a second to talk about this pump. I recognize that cosmetic pumps are probably not the thing that you like jump to have a conversation about. Let me tell you why this pump is the best, okay? We tested so many pumps. We didn't want to have this beautiful, gorgeous formulation in this big bottle and then have a pump that was going to stop working throughout the lifespan of your product. So we had these pumps tested with our product. They would simulate aging in the formula and continue to test the pumps over time. It was like a real it was a real situation, all right? And this pump really reigns supreme above all else, okay? So each little pump is made in France, shipped off to Italy, where the formula is made and bottled, and then it's headed to you. And I hope that every time you pump that pump, you're gonna feel the love that went into it. One more thing that I really quickly wanna mention, and then I will move on from the pump, is that we wanted to also make sure that it was going to be a pump where you could control the amount of product that you were pumping out. So you can do like a little quarter pump, a little half pump if you want. So if I'm going to be mixing Glow Lust with like my skincare or my foundation, then I usually use like a full pump. If I'm just putting it on like, like the tops of my cheekbones kind of thing, then I'll usually do like a little half pump so I'm not like wasting product. This formula is fragrance-free, gluten-free, cruelty-free, of course. It's also glitter-free, so you're not going to get any of that chunky texture or like little particles of visible glitter. It's just this really beautiful kind of glow and luminosity without any of that texture. We also wanted that formula to be really hydrating so that it wasn't going to be something that, you're mixing with this beautiful hydrating skincare and then it's like drying everything out. We wanted it to be something that was going to be comfortable to wear throughout the day, so we have our hydrating ingredients in there that are on an active level, not just a marketing level. So jumping into the shade range, when we go back to that idea of flexibility, we wanted to make this formula sheer enough that you could kind of fall into multiple different shades and it was going to be really foolproof in that way. So I'll start first with the shade that I typically use the most. So this is Morganite, which is our lightest shade. This is a lighter beige with a little bit more of a kind of like pinky cool undertone. This is the shade that I wear the most often and the one that I'm the most likely to kind of mix with my foundation or skincare. But in terms of a highlight, I can easily use any of the 3 lightest shades. Next we have Selenite, which these are going to look pretty similar through the frosted bottle, but I'll show you guys pictures of every model from our photo shoot and which shade they kind of corresponded with. So Selenite is still really light, but a little bit more neutral toned. And we had our model Zoey in this shade, looking just immaculate. Then we have Pyrite, which Pyrite is kind of like a medium olive shade. If you lean more neutral or more olive and you find that a lot of the times highlights look really pinky or really peachy on you, then this is probably going to be a good shade for you. A lot of our models from the photo shoot ended up falling into this shade. So we had Nicole, Taylor, and Zach all in this shade. Hands are sweating on the bottles. It's a real shame. Then we have Citrine, which is our medium warm shade. It's such a gorgeous shade. We had our model Lilly at the photo shoot in Citrine. And at one point, my friend Nolan was one of the hairdressers on set. He like put her hair into this like super snatched ponytail. And I, like from across the room, I would just like stare at her skin because it looked so, just divine. Then we have Goldstone, which is our medium deep warm shade. So this shade was on our model India for our photo shoot. But same with this shade as Pyrite, a lot of our deeper skin models were able to kind of fall into that shade and use it as a highlight as well. So that's a really gorgeous and flexible one. Then we have Axonite, which is our deep neutral shade, and we had the lovely Coura in this shade on set. And then finally, our deepest shade that runs a little bit more kind of neutral cool is Tourmaline. So Tourmaline we had on our model Farima, but this was pretty flexible and easy to be used on Farima or Coura. So all of the shades are named after precious gemstones and minerals, except for Goldstone, which is actually a glass fun fact. Something that's pretty common in the industry with complexion products is numbered shades. With that system, one of those shades is going to be labeled number 1. I'm not super down with what that implies. So we instead opted for all of these beautiful different types of crystals and minerals and gemstones and glass. We liked the idea of having those shade names play off the properties of this product. So, you know, just a product that's really glowy and shiny and beautiful. So that was kind of the idea behind the names. In terms of application with that product, if I'm mixing it with skincare, then I'll usually apply it with my hands. If I'm mixing it with foundation, usually a brush or a sponge. If I'm applying it over top of my foundation, I prefer a sponge, but you can easily use a brush or your fingers or whatever you want. Really let your imagination run wild. Then for our next product, we have Smoke Reflect. Smoke Reflect, for those of you that pronounce it like that. Let's just like have a quick discussion about eyeshadow palettes, okay? Eyeshadow palettes are something that's pretty common for a new brand to launch with. And just in general, that's been a product that's been really popular among all brands to just release and release and release. But I feel like that's led to this kind of like oversaturation and just like boredom, basically. So for me, I usually have a palette. I have a million palettes, but I have a palette that I gravitate towards, and then I end up using other little things to kind of couple with that palette to add dimension to the look. So for me, that's like cream shadows, glitter shadows, different stuff like that. So that was why instead of launching with an eyeshadow palette, we wanted to launch with an eye product that was still going to be really versatile and more kind of like bang for your buck, but something you'll hopefully reach for more often than, you know, just another eyeshadow palette. And like, don't get me wrong, there's like a time and a place for an eyeshadow palette. Okay, will I launch one eventually? Yeah, I'm sure. Don't like hold it over my head, but you know, it's not what I wanted to launch with. So Smoke Reflect is kind of 3 products in one. So on the top, well, first of all, we have our like just perfect little custom cap with the raised AURIC logo. Oh, this shade in particular, because like I have my one that's like used and dirty and grimy now, but that powder, when you open it fresh, oh, it sets my heart aflutter. So you have this really beautiful textured, shiny kind of topper shadow that doesn't have a really pigmented base. It's a little bit more of a translucent base, but just this really beautiful kind of like top glitter. So this is stunning on its own. Like I like to wear this as just a shadow on its own, but you can also wear it over top of the little cream that we will find on the bottom in this beautiful frosted glass. Again, just glass, more recyclable. And another reason for glass with this product, I mean, aside from being perfect and gorgeous, the glass in combination with an airtight cap will help to keep your cream from drying out. So on the bottom, we have this gorgeous cream shadow that's really long wearing and creaseless and just true perfection. Again, when you open a fresh cream, just so satisfying. So this cream is really flexible. You can kind of apply it more in like a sheer wash of color. I'll sometimes use the cream with like an angle brush or something like that to do more of like a graphic eyeshadow look, or just apply it like full on, really, really nice and smoky. And I love wearing that cream by itself, just like as a really quick kind of like nice like day smoky. But for really full impact of this product, I like to apply my cream first, smoke it out, and then apply our powder over top for this really beautiful, reflective, just stunning time. So this is the shade that I'm wearing today. This is Defiance. So we have this nice kind of like deeper neutral bronze color on the bottom for our cream. I like a bronze that's not so orangey, you know? And then on the top we have this really gorgeous sunny goldy champagne color. I would say that's probably my most worn shade. Although I say that, and like every time I look at I'll show you the next shade that I'm talking about. Every time I look at Ego, I'm like, that actually has like a lot taken out of there. Like I've really dipped in, you know? The next shade is Ego. So on top, we have our more kind of like lighter pewter shade. And then underneath we have this deeper steely shade. I wanted to make a silver that wasn't so blue toned. It's not that I don't like those types of shades. I just find myself reaching for this more often because it has that kind of more like warm neutral color to it. I just find it a lot more flattering and a lot more easy to wear. And then our final shade of Smoke Reflect is Temper. So Temper is, listen, I think I want rose gold in my life, okay? Every time I seek out a self-described rose gold shade, I'm dismayed because it's so coppery and so orangey. There came a time where I just had to accept the fact that what I actually wanted was like taupe gold. Our powder for Temper is a little bit more of a true kind of like rose gold shade. And then on the bottom, we have this really beautiful kind of like taupey rose gold shade. So it's a little bit more neutral. It's not so coppery. So stunning. This is one that every single time I wore it in a video, people were like, what is that? So in terms of application with Smoke Reflect, with the cream, I prefer to apply it with almost more of a fluffy brush kind of, so that I can apply it and blend it out all in one stroke. If I'm layering the powder over top of the cream, I'll usually go in with my fingers just for the most kind of like intensity and payoff and texture. And then if I'm applying the powder on its own, sometimes I'll still use a finger, but sometimes I'll use a wet brush as well. The wet brush, I don't know if this is gonna translate. The wet brush makes it more shiny, but the finger application makes it more like textured and glittery. You can play around with it. So in terms of the shade names, once upon a time, I was eating waffles with a friend of mine, and I was telling this friend about another friend of mine that was kind of talking down to me about something that she saw as a flaw of mine. And this friend said to me, something that one person sees as a flaw in you might be another person's favorite thing about you, like something that they just admire the most. And that really changed my frame of mind around a lot of things that I used to kind of think were maybe not like the most admirable traits in myself, but also in friends of mine as well. And especially with women, you know, a lot of the times people talk down about certain qualities in women that they would admire in men. And so some of the things that come to mind for me around that is, you know, stuff like confidence and passion and being willing to, you know, defend what you believe in and what you feel strongly about, even if that translates in a way where you are maybe a little bit more intense. And this product is something that I just every time I wear it, it's so eye-catching. I have people ask what I'm wearing. I feel really confident when I wear it. So all of the names are things that, you know, maybe have a negative connotation sometimes, but I think just makes for people that are captivating, you know? So we have temper, which is, you know, that intensity around things that are important to you, and ego playing into that idea of confidence and knowing your value and your worth, and defiance, which is, I mean, defiance is something that's always been important to me. Just kind of being in the state of being willing to go against the grain and challenge status quo and not just sit back on things that we care about. So that's the little story behind the names. So that is AURIC and a little bit about our story and the products we launched and why. All in all, I wanted this brand to be a physical representation of all of the little details that I love about products and formulations and packaging, coupled with the things that are most important to me morally. I can't even describe how many people came together to make this brand so perfect and so special. A lot of you know that I work on this brand alongside my mom, who has always been my biggest supporter and just really, you know, allowed me to be who I am and stood behind me every step of the way. And then we have the two other people on the AURIC team that are just so incredibly hardworking and so willing to fight for every little aspect that, you know, was important to us, and not wanting to cut corners just to save the time or the headache. So from our team to my family, to my friends, to the Discord group, to other brands, to influencers and makeup artists, so many people behind the scenes helped, you know, support me and push me and get me excited and inspired to keep going with this project. And what this has transformed into, I could not be more proud of it. I wanted to create a brand that could stand on its own without my name attached to it. Something that, whether or not you know who I am, you're still going to look at and, you know, be excited about. And this all couldn't have come to fruition without you guys supporting me for all these years. Almost everything that I have that I truly value and appreciate, and so many of the people that I'm most grateful for, I know because of this career. That is all a result of having the privilege of being in this career and having so many people that do support me and stand behind me and believe in what I'm doing here on the internet. So I can't express my gratitude enough. Thank you for being excited with me and for being along for the ride. I hope you guys love what we've created. I hope that you reach for these products every day like I do. And I did this without crying, and I'd like that to be noted because I'm also pregnant, so that would have been warranted. Let's give me a pat on the back, okay? Thank you guys, and I will see you next time. Peace out.